Hello, in this video, I'll be describing how parents and tutors can look at information on their students' progress using Epiphanie AI math tutoring and how it shares information with their learning community. Let me start with the first question that often comes up when I talk about AI math tutoring. This is not a system that's doing students' homework for them. There have been math systems out there for a decade that do that. A lot of times when parents think of AI when it comes to school, they think of students trying to get away with not doing the work. But AI can also be a tool to help students learn, and that's what we're doing here. Rather than waiting until they get their assignment back to have some limited feedback from their teacher, Epiphany AI tutoring can give feedback immediately so they can see where they're making mistakes and make adjustments before the next day of class. It also shares that information on where they're making mistakes with tutors, teachers, and parents if the student wishes to do so, to help them all work together to allow that student to make progress. Here we have a student who I have aptly named Epiphany student, and they've completed a problem set on factoring. And they've made some mistakes along the way. And what we're going to do is, first of all, we can sit down in this system, maybe when a tutor comes by or a parent comes by, and look at these problems from within their account. I can also run reports and say, hey, I want to look at all of the problems in this recent assignment, and I want to look at the ones that have mistakes in them. And here we are. I can pop these up and they're going to open up in another tab, and I can look at what mistakes were made and the advice that Epiphany gave and things like that. And you'll see some things here about the mistakes they made. This is also information that can be shared either by printing it out. So I can take this assignment, go back to this assignment, hang on a second, and I can print this as PDF, either to turn in or to look over on paper if we prefer. Or I can share information about this with parents and tutors through my learning community. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a new learning community partner. We'll say, call this person AWS parent. And I'm going to use my email address for this. I'm going to say this is a parent, but the same thing works for tutors and also teachers as well. And this is a key point. Nobody has access to this student's information unless they invite them to see it. So they have control over who has the opportunity to see their work. So they're going to invite this parent. And now I would get an invitation. I could go ahead and create an account, and you'll see I'll have the opportunity to log in and check out that work. Let's go ahead and log out as the student, and we're going to go ahead and create our account as a parent. Call this AWS parent, and email my email again, Kevin@epiphany.com. You can actually have more than one account tied to the same email address. We did that so if you have younger children who don't have their own emails yet, we can use a parent email for that. We're going to call this AWS as parent. And I'll go ahead and register. Here I am. Now I've registered. I've been invited by my son or daughter to look at the results of their work. I'm going to go to Teacher Tools and, oh, hang on a minute. We want to make absolutely sure that anyone who has access to a student's information is fully vetted. So we require validation in order for anyone to access a student's information. They don't have access to their email address, but they have access to the ability to share comments with them and to share assignments with them. And so we want to make sure those people are fully vetted. Hold on a minute while I go ahead and validate this email account, and we'll continue it from there. And we're back. I got an email from the system asking to validate my account. I went ahead and validated that. I'm going to go back to Teacher Tools now. And here we go. I have invitations. Here's an invitation from my Epiphany student. I'm going to accept this invitation. And I now have the ability to see the work that they've done. Let's go to student assignments. And here I have it. There's this assignment that I was looking at. I can open this up and look at individual problems, the ones that did correctly or incorrectly. The D here stands for done. The M stands for there's a mistake in this problem. I'm actually going to go back here for a minute. And I'm going to go to class reports instead. And I just want to look at, out of all of my students, how they did on this assignment. And I only want to look at problems with mistakes. Update the filter. Here's my problems with mistakes. Right now, they're reverse chronologically organized. I'm going to open this up and I can see specific details on which problems have mistakes. I can also either see information that was automatically put in here by Epiphany on the type of mistake um, that was made, or I can add my own. I can make adjustments and add my own information on what I think the mistake was, because we're not always going to get that right. I can also add a comment here. Good catch. And let's go back to another one. This is opened in a new tab, so I can go back to the other window and let's look at this one. Go down here and look at this one. Okay, here we go. Here's a sign error. Let's look at this here. Good catch. Let's practice some problems with negatives. In this case, this particular student had a number of mistakes related to positive and negative values. And, is it related to adding and subtracting or multiplying negatives, or is it just getting a feel for factoring? That's one of the things that this helps to catch and identify. So we can comment on these problems. We can see how they're doing. We can get instant feedback and share it among all people within the learning community. So at the end of the week, a tutor can actually see where the challenges are coming up and focus on specific problems that they want to work on. And as a parent who might like to go over your students' problems with them, this is a good way to check on that. So overall, what's our goal? We want to foster feedback and have everyone who's involved in this student's education understand what types of mistakes they're making, what kind of help they need. If there's any specific trends, this will help identify those. And also, and just as importantly, give them instant feedback as they're doing their homework. What happens in most students' classes is they're working on a problem and doing their homework one night, might turn it in a day or two later. The teacher gets that back. They might grade it a day or two later. It'll be 5 days or even a week before they have feedback that they can actually act on to see where they're making mistakes. If they're lucky, many advanced math classes don't have any feedback whatsoever. Most of the mistakes that I see in advanced math are mistakes in foundational material. By the time students get up to calculus, 90% of their mistakes aren't calculus mistakes. It's exponent mistakes, trigonometry mistakes, algebra, or even sign errors in simple math. Everybody does it. It's not a bad thing. It's just something that students have to learn to catch along the way. Thank you for checking out this video. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention. You'll have a 30-day trial if you sign in for this, but if you want to set up an account for students, for parents or others who have who want to subscribe, there's a subscription. However, you might have a promotional code that allows you to access this for free. Many of the schools I'm working with have free access for all students, parents, and tutors, and even siblings. I'm fine with that. Feel free to use those codes for anyone involved in your students' education. For parents at AWS, my algebra class code is Mr. Moore Algebra 2024 to 25. When I apply this, I'll get a new plan popping up here, and this is just a free plan through the end of the year. Thank you again for listening, and I hope that you and your students are able to make good use of Epiphany.